Welcome, thanks for joining me for this 7-part video course, which as you know is called How to Turn Your Voice into Your Greatest Asset. Now, you may think that your greatest asset is your house, your car, your investments, your bank balance, your company. But in fact, the greatest asset that you have when it comes to communicating with other people, whether you're doing a deal, whether you're running a dinner party or addressing a board meeting, it's your voice. Because if you have a powerful, persuasive, charismatic voice, then that's going to make all the difference to every situation that you ever find yourself in. Have you ever listened to your own voice? I mean, really listened. Have you listened to hear, is it high? Is it low? Do you speak too fast? Do you speak too slow? What kind of voice do you really have? It's really important. Now, I'll tell you one thing. Most people do not open their mouth enough when they speak. And they don't realize that the voice that people are hearing when they speak to them is not the voice that they personally are hearing inside their head. Because you see, your head is this giant resonating cavity, and it sounds fine in there. If I talk to myself for a minute, and I'm talking like this, and I can hear it perfectly well, and I don't know if you picked that up, but probably not. Or if you did, it was very hard to hear. But it sounded fine in here, in my head. Ever since you're a tiny, tiny child, the voice you hear more than any other voice is your own voice. Therefore, you think your voice is fine. You think it's big enough, loud enough, fine enough. And then one day, you do catch a recording of it, and you begin to seriously listen to it. I hope you did anyway, because you'll realize that it's almost as if I was in this room here, and you were outside that door there, and you were trying to talk to me from outside with the door closed, and I was having to strain to hear what you were saying. And it's the same if you don't open your mouth enough. It's just like the door is closed. You've got to open the door and let the sound out. So if you're going to develop this powerful, wonderful asset called a voice, then you need to know how it works. Because if you'd never driven a car and you got in a car for the first time, you'd have to know how it all works. You'd have to know which is the brake, the accelerator, the gear lever, how to do what, when, and how. And it's the same with your voice, because you've probably never troubled to find out how it really works. Now, the thing that powers your voice is air. Air. Air is free. We don't pay for air. We pay for gas, electricity, water, fuel for the car. We don't pay for air, and yet people use very little of it. When I walk around down a crowded street, I see people walking around and they hardly seem to be breathing. They're certainly not taking in much air, I can tell you. And when they start to talk to someone, they don't open their mouth and they don't have much air to power the voice. So it becomes a very boring, tiny, uninteresting little voice, and possibly difficult to hear. Now, you don't want that, because this is a powerful asset we're developing here. So when you are going to make a speech, when you're going to talk to someone at an important event, whatever it is, you need to get air in through the mouth to fill the lungs completely, so you can push out the words on a cushion of air. So we're going to need lots of air, and we're going to have to fill the lungs. Okay, and if you want to fill the lungs, you've got to get the air in through an open mouth. I'm not saying you've always got to breathe in through an open mouth, and perhaps your mother, like my mother, told you to breathe in through the nose so as you didn't get germs or flies or something in your mouth. But for this particular purpose, you need to get air in through the mouth, because you can't get enough air into these little tiny nostrils here if you're going to have a powerful voice and push the words out on this cushion of air I've just talked about. So take your hands and put them on the bottom of your rib cage. It's like an upside down V here. Put your hands there and push in, hold it in, and you'll find if you open your mouth and take in a good, slow, deep breath, filling your lungs, what will happen is that the air will push your hands outwards and upwards as the rib cage moves outwards and upwards when the lungs are filling. Watch. Now I'm not doing that. I'm not moving my hands. My hands are being moved by just air filling the lungs and expanding the rib cage outwards and upwards. And that's also going to be an assignment for you, because you need to practice this over and over. Because until you can easily get a lot of air in through an open mouth, fill your lungs to full capacity, then you can project a powerful voice. And you can use tune and tone and rhythm and all sorts of exciting elements to your voice, which we'll be talking about later in the course.